Well then.
Wow. We've had so much going on, you guys. A lot going on. And please tell us that our stream is stable there. It says excellent, says we're doing well, so I'm happy that is happening. And I have it checking and making sure. So anyways, hey guys, we lost you for a bit. Again, like I said, we put this whole studio together today. It was a crunch. It was a time crunch. We had a lot going on. And I want to say thank you if you're continuing to watch this video, because it has been a bit of a challenge in a new space, new setup with us, kind of putting all these components together. But we had a drop. It wasn't even anything that we could tell happened.
Yeah.
The stream just dropped in the middle of us going through the viewer questions. So we covered quite a bit in the viewer questions, but we'll jump right back into it. I think about the time where we left off, which had to do with the Xbox Series X,
yes,
the PS5, and wide format, what is supported by those consoles. And we were talking about that because we've been getting a lot of questions from viewers about whether or not they can use their wide format monitors on these next gen consoles. And my ultimate answer to them is no. Like, unfortunately, teary eye. Unfortunately, the consoles don't support it. There's not a lot of resolutions that consoles do support. They have your standards in there, but there's really not optimization for each, because then the developers of the game have to go through and add all of those resolutions and aspect ratios to the game and kind of re-engineer it for gameplay using those types of monitors. And with the reality of most console gamers are utilizing a TV, which is a 16:9 aspect ratio.
Sure. Very standardized now.
Standard 4K resolution, then there's really no big motivation for them to optimize it for a wide format.
Mm-hmm.
So the simple answer is no, it doesn't work for a wide format. You will get a cropped picture. So you see the sides, you have two black bars, kind of like watching widescreen movies. You'll have it on the sides. And you may be able to get the frame rate that you want, the refresh rate that you want. But it's not going to look that great on a wide format monitor. So obviously with some of the new launches we talked about LG and their new gaming monitors with HDMI 2.1. There's a few more too. There's Asus. There's obviously going to be a handful of others. That MSI just came out with theirs. I believe it was MSI.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong.
No, I believe you're right. Yes.
There's a couple out there with HDMI 2.1. With those ones coming out, just hang tight. Sit on your hands for a little bit and look to get some of those new HDMI 2.1 monitors. Hopefully we get some for the channel so you guys can check them out, right? So yeah, that pretty much answers that question.
I think it does, yeah. I think the only other question that comes to mind would be, is that something that they could implement in later with like a software update or a patch, or is that something that would literally physically have to be built into the hardware that if it doesn't have it from the get-go of the time that it's produced, it's never going to be able to have it?
Right. So much like we're hoping that the PlayStation 5 gets 1440p as a supported resolution, it is something that they could change. Like HDMI 2.1 is fully capable of doing a wide format monitor, and the hardware they have is fully capable of doing a wide format monitor. So it could happen. However, it's probably not going to happen, because then you're really getting into, again, it kind of go back to my what is the majority of gamers? What are the majority of gamers using as their display?
Sure.
If they're using a standard aspect ratio on a 4K or a 1080 or a 1440p monitor / TV, no, they're not going to program that wide format into it, just because it's not worth the time and the effort if only 3% of the people using the console are using wide format.
Sure, makes sense.
And it's just going to be a headache for you at the end of the day if you have one, or go out and buy one. So you can use it. I don't think it'll turn out that great, though, to be honest with you.
All right.
Yeah.
There you have it. So, no, sadly. In a nutshell.
So,
no.
What is your NAT type? Matt?
My NAT type.
What is your NAT type? What is
Good question.
Derek?
Yeah.
What is your NAT?
Even better question. Yeah.
Open.
Okay. Yes. So I did that video on the Xbox Series X, getting 1440p at 120 hertz.
Right.
And I had an awesome question, and they were like, "Can you please make your next video about how to get your NAT type to open on the Xbox?" Which, man, has like, if you've been a console gamer, like, you know for a fact, and that getting your NAT type open is chaotic, to say the least. It essentially allows, so NAT type allows a couple things, but essentially just ensures that you have an open line of communication to everybody that you want to game with, and you want to play with. What and bad, poor, or restricted or moderate NAT type can do is limit the players or the party that you're able to join up and game with. It can do a couple other things, but I've seen it cause issues with joining games with someone on PlayStation, because I have PC, joining games with somebody on Xbox, so on and so forth. So obviously this is something we want open. Now, the way to legitimately do that, and I won't do a full video on it, is to create a port forward through your IP address, through your router's IP address. And what that'll allow is a stable connection, basically a verified connection to your router, saying that, hey, this is safe to do so. And it prioritizes the bandwidth and the connection to that particular device. So I tested it out on my own to make sure that this was a solid solution, because I was struggling with connecting to somebody who was in a PS5, using a PS5, and it worked perfectly. So at least it turned the NAT type to open. Maybe I'll make a video about that, but if you research what port forwarding is, they're going to give you an address for the Xbox Live platform, and you'll easily be able to get it done if you know how to log into your router.
Cool.
Yes.
All right. And what's the advantage of having your NAT closed? I mean, if it's more beneficial to have it open, one has to surmise that there would be some benefit of having it closed.
It's more of a security restriction through your router that's basically not sure if the hardware that you're utilizing is fully safe, and the connections and the interactions you're having are fully safe. But because you're on a gaming platform like Call of Duty, you can assume that it's reasonably safe for you to be there. So you can open that up now. If you don't want to pose any security risk to yourself, you can let your router determine whether or not it's safe or not. It can also have to do with your bandwidth. So it could be part of your bandwidth isn't strong enough. So I don't know that there is a huge benefit. I think security would be the only risk, right? Like, of having it open. But I don't think it's like massively a risk. Like, you're on the internet all day, every day anyways.
Sure. Yeah.
There's information on your phone that's subject to the internet all day, every day long. So anyways.
Yes.
And I'll be honest, I'm not a super big expert on NAT, what it is, all this other stuff. I just generally know what it is and how to turn it to open.
Good deal.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, buddy.
All right.
Matt, you have an exciting new innovation.
I do, in fact, yes. Yes, it's quite exciting. It may or may not revolutionize the automotive industry. We will find out. Time will tell. But
I liked the title, which was
yes,
biggest innovation in the auto industry in the smallest form factor.
yes, absolutely. Well, you all tend to think of, I'm sure, innovations in the automotive industry as going from the standard gasoline engine to the hybrid to the fully electric, and that is a massive transition and a massive leap forward in technology. But there are other massive leaps forward that come in very, very, very small packages, and this is one of them. This is the Under radar on chip. So it is the Under ROC, as it's hyphenated. But basically what that means is it gives you an ultra small form factor here, basically the size of a micro SD card.
Yeah.
And that chip carries two DSP engines as well as two CPUs. on it in order to basically vastly advance the capabilities of radar technology for vehicles. So when you think of a Tesla self-driving vehicle, not to drop any name drops here, but you have to realize that car is able to communicate with other cars on the road and or able to communicate with its own radar technology in order to figure out where it's at and what obstacles might be in the way. So the idea of this is to basically make that technology impervious to any weather conditions, any light, any other outside factors, and be able to really translate that into monitoring multiple objects in front of you at the same time. That's where current technology of radar and it's rough, exactly. And even like radar cruise control works fairly well, but when you have multiple vehicles ahead of you or very close to you or around you, it can get confused on how to react to which of those vehicles and which one it should be monitoring.
Here's a big one. So the Subaru I have has that radar cruise control.
Right.
And it will go to a complete stop for the car in front of you. However, if it's raining hard enough, and you live in Washington, it rains hard enough.
Yeah.
It cannot see the road ahead of you, the lines on the outside, or the car in front of you. So it will actually shut itself off, and you're not using it anymore. So the big concern there is if you're driving, you're just going down the road and it turns off. Hopefully you're paying attention, but there is a risk that somebody using that isn't paying attention. Well, obviously that poses a big concern. I don't know if you saw, there was a video recently on Tesla's big issue. I don't know if you saw it.
I didn't see the most recent one. No, I heard about the first generation of issues you could say they were having with the self-driving platform and with people basically just not paying any attention, being on their phones, being asleep. There were videos of people being asleep at the wheel.
A little bit different.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't know how recent this is, but I did recently see the video, and it immediately was like, oh wow, this is crazy. So it has that auto
lane departure warning.
No.
Auto collision, auto radar.
No, we were just talking about it. So it has the radar with the cruise control. So it has an automatic amount that it follows the car, like distance it will follow.
Sure.
So in this video they show the Tesla following a vehicle, and then that vehicle, instead of stopping because there's traffic up ahead, veers off to the right. And the radar can't detect that person veering off in the new car in front of them.
Sure.
So it just keeps going.
Okay. Yep.
And smacks into the car in front of them. Huge issue that they tested with this Tesla, and they show them actually hitting this. It's a inflatable car.
That's probably smart.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
That they're testing it this way. So this would alleviate all of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the theory. That's the idea.
But does each car then have to have one?
Correct. Yeah. That would be the real leap forward, is that every car moving forward might be able to implement this technology, and then each car can then effectively communicate with each other, and we could literally look at a future of autonomous vehicles.
Oh, this would be really cool, man. We got to figure out what cars are adapting this technology and what has currently used similar technology. Like I know BMW had some newer technology where it's actually mapping out the surroundings for you,
right.
real time. And I don't know if it had something to do with that was similar to this, which is it seemed like a radar technology. So I wonder if they were using this technology, just an early stage of it, and this is finally kind of coming to light.
Sure, yeah, like the latest iteration of it, or the most advanced version of it yet, or the smallest version,
or the smallest,
right,
which is really cool.
Yeah,
because this could just be thrown in your somewhere in your dash.
Yeah.
You'll never see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's there.
Pretty awesome.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Boom. Okay.
Pretty cool, sir.
Pretty sweet. Yeah. We'll put a link to that below. Like, man, we struggled with this live stream, guys, and I appreciate you. We just want to get through it. We want to be able to complete, what we have for you guys. So we'll jump into it. I was going to talk about Samsung's kind of new launches. I'm going to skip over that a bit so we can get into the gaming trends because we don't have a ton of time. Obviously, Samsung put out a lot of new content, a lot of new products. Their Neo QLEDs. They're working hard on their micro LEDs, which is their first iteration to consumers for the micro LEDs. Besides, I believe the wall was a micro LED.
Right.
But the wall wasn't really consumer available. You had to special order it and it came direct from Samsung. It was not a product that was like on retail shelves,
For sure.
available to buy online. Like,
Yep.
it was not something that was available. So pretty big, because obviously we see TCL and now we see LG jumping into the mini LED.
Yep.
So Samsung's striking back hard with their micro LED. So it's an honorable mention. To even say that it happened is phenomenal. And I wish I had more that I could share with you, but I want to jump into
Up to 30,000 micro LEDs. We'll give you
that's
that.
insane, isn't
Right?
it?
That's nuts. Just in
I know,
itself, yeah.
there's just so much in it. That is, so and we talked about it last week, 8.3 million self-lit pixels on an OLED. On a good LED, you have up to 500 dimmable zones behind the panel with not micro, but
The mini LED.
LED. We're talking like 3,000, 7,000, something like that.
Yeah.
And with micro LED, up to 30,000. How does LG respond to that? How does TCL respond to that?
Right.
Obviously, LG does OLED, so that's how they respond.
Sure, there you go. They go, oh, QLED, that sounds fun. Yeah, here's an OLED.
Here's an OLED. But micro LED is much brighter.
Yeah.
So you can use it in a big living room with a lot of light. You can
There you go.
use it as display signage. You can use it in an area where you need a brighter picture. OLED, you can't do that.
Right. That's
so-
kind of the one inherent drawback with the OLED, right? Is
Yeah.
that it just can't hit that same peak brightness, and it just isn't as ideal for certain conditions or certain situations that have a ton of light.
Yeah, they just can't do that. So I'm interested to see how they all play out, and I'm hoping that we can get our hands on maybe one of these. That'd be sweet, man. Like, hey, we're not a big channel, so we don't get our hands on a lot of these products. When we do, it's a huge, huge gift to us to be able to receive them and mess around and check them out. So
For sure. And most often it's an investment on our part in order to make that happen, because
Right.
we don't have any kind of backing or sponsorships or anything else that's kind of allowing us to be able to do this
right.
without us
Yeah.
kind of going out on a limb and going, hey, we think the channel would love this. We think our audience would really appreciate this. Let's
Yeah.
make it happen.
Yeah, so we throw down the cash. We make a little bit off YouTube from you guys watching, and we appreciate that. But it's not like, we're not making a ton of money. This is just something we're interested in. We truly want to see this technology and be a part of it, be a part of the industry, and watch where this takes us into the future. Just because this is, especially over the last year, we've seen like everybody is using tech, man.
Yeah.
Like, everybody is now where I was like 10 years ago, like forced to use a computer.
Right.
Man.
Right.
I've always had a gaming console. I've always had a laptop, a computer. I've always had some sort of computing device, and always looked into new technology. And I think the world is catching up to that and that interest, because it serves a purpose in their life today. Something
Yeah.
different than it did.
Absolutely, yeah. It was kind of more of a niche thing that served a very specific purpose if you were in a very specific field before. But now it does seem like those technologies are all intermingling and coexisting, and all kind of now being designed to work with one another, so that you now have the entire smart home that's all
Right.
integrated.
You have the smart home, you have the smart cars, you have the smart phone, you have, now you're teleconferencing to work or working from home. You need the internet, you need the network
Right.
to be able to support it. Much like we need the network to be able to support this live stream.
Indeed,
the
yes.
channel.
Even when it says it's excellent.
We do have a new network we're going to be putting in. We just didn't have time to put it in today. So,
Yeah.
anyways, long story short, we kind of cut back to it because we're going to be talking about the gaming trends.
Gaming trends.
So every week we bring a little bit of what's happening in the gaming world, man, because it seems like we talked about last week, the esports massive arena, man. Not just that arena we talked about, but
Sure.
a $1.1 billion industry, big, man. A lot of things are happening. The Xbox Series X, PS5, and computers had a record-breaking year for sales and use by us, by consumers. So it was definitely a huge year, and that brings up a lot of good stuff, man, related to gaming trends. But this next headline isn't really great.
Uh-oh. Sorry.
Sorry. So EA and Star Wars break up.
Oh.
I'll give that a pause before.
Go ahead and cry. Make a tweet. Yeah, do what you need to do.
So, okay, here's the deal. Yeah, I'll make a tweet. Tweet.
If you're able.
If I'm able. So, over the last 8 years, Star Wars and EA have had a, what is that called? Basically...
Love-hate relationship?
They've had a really good relationship.
Yeah,
They've done a lot of really good stuff with the Battlefront games. They did really well with Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2. But they've had... EA has had exclusivity over the game rights for Star Wars. They technically had a 10-year contract.
That's right.
And I believe 8 of it was... 8 years out of that was actually only EA could make the games. Whereas now... I think 8 years in, they're open to work with other individuals. There's a little speculation here because essentially Lucasfilms has announced that they're going to be working with other creators, developers like Bethesda and Ubisoft to be able to develop new games. And it looks like those game titles are Indiana Jones and then Star Wars with Ubisoft. So my whole point in saying that is there's speculation that it could take 2 years to develop, or somewhere in the contract it allows them to work with other companies this far into the contract. However, if I could look up the engine that they're going to be using, I think it's for Star Wars. What was the name of that engine they're going to be using? Maybe he can get it for us.
Ooh, yeah, that would be nice.
Sky something engine.
Massive's Snowdrop engine.
Yeah, Massive's Snowdrop engine. So essentially, this Massive's Snowdrop engine is a. It takes the tools of AAA. It allows smaller teams to develop AAA titles, to be able to push out content that you would see from large studios with a smaller team.
Which is awesome. I mean, in theory, that's great. You know, we want to have more competition. We want to have more creative minds creating awesome games and not just have, 4 or 5 major studio heads out there and companies that are well known for producing major titles, and then everyone else kind of is under the radar.
Yeah. Well, and it's very good, man. It gives a leg up. I mean, it kind of begs the question, though. I don't think Ubisoft or Bethesda really need that per se, but it is a new engine, so to speak, for developers. So obviously them being on that platform is awesome. I'm a little concerned though because some of the titles I saw in there just weren't good, and I don't know if we have them anywhere. If you go to their that engine's website, there was a couple titles. Maybe we could pull that up. I wasn't super impressed, man. Like some of the titles I saw in there were not my favorite games or games that I would pick up on a regular basis.
Sure.
So I kind of think this is a little iffy for me. And maybe it does mark a point where, I don't know. It's hard to even comment on it. I don't know if it's going to turn out well.
Sure.
Is really what I'm trying to say.
Sure. Well, look at the latest franchise releases from Star Wars. Have those turned out well? I mean, critically speaking, not exactly.
Yeah.
So it could be one of those situations where they're going, hey, how can we diversify our market share?
Yeah.
How can we get more eyes on the product? How can we get more gamers playing these games related to these titles?
Right.
So it may be nothing of necessary inherent value, but more so just inherent value for the company's
Honestly,
growth.
I will say this, man. If Bethesda or Ubisoft made a Star Wars game, I would play it. I'll just put it that way. I'd be a little concerned. When I look at EA, I think of like sporting games.
Madden, right.
Madden, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
I think of, I don't think of the type of gameplay that I would like in a storyline
Right.
like Star Wars or
Right.
Indiana Jones.
Storyline, first-person POV style.
Division 2. Let's talk about that.
You have him over here talking about games he likes. man.
Oh, yeah.
No,
So-
it's good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Tom
Right.
Clancy's The Division 2.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Kind of a flop.
Yeah, Division 2, Tom Clancy, not that great, done on that engine. So I don't know, man. But here's the deal: you make a style like Tomb Raider 4 Indiana Jones,
There you go.
I will play that.
Now
all
we're
day.
talking. Yeah,
Now we're
exactly.
talking. Beautiful graphics.
Right, right.
You even bring Harrison Ford back as
Do
the
it.
character.
Yeah, I'll take old Harrison Ford. I don't care.
Old Harrison Ford, man. Bring it back.
That's right.
Man, I think that would be solid. That would be a great game. I would play through that for sure.
Oh yeah. And just look at how popular the other titles were for Tomb Raider. I mean, that was a great game historically. You know,
Phenomenal game.
Yeah.
And that was that Bethesda?
For
Tomb Raider?
I
Yeah.
believe
good
that
question.
was- no, I think that was Ubisoft.
Oh, okay.
I
Anyways.
think they did do it actually. Yeah. Now that he says it. Yeah.
Well, anyways.
Either way.
It doesn't really matter. If that was a style of gameplay, we can expect to see some awesome stuff coming from Bethesda for Indiana Jones and Ubisoft for Star Wars. 100%. It would be much better than EA Sports in my opinion. In my opinion.
No.
Sure. Just for the track records and such, history of developing games, you might say. Yeah.
So
what?
I know you've been waiting for this game,
Oh, I've been waiting. Yep.
and you've been waiting and waiting,
And waiting some more.
and it was just right around the corner, and it got pushed back in 2022.
I know. I almost wasn't here tonight.
Yeah, you almost weren't here.
I almost just gave up on it all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand. You were at home, stuck in bed,
Yeah. Yeah.
crying.
Sobbing.
Yeah,
Crying
couldn't
would
even
not
move.
do it justice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sobbing. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair. I will say that because Hogwarts Legacy did not. It got pushed back.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
So that
Yep.
stock you bought in that game, you better just cash out now.
I know. It's
Yeah.
slipping through my fingers as we speak. Yeah. Yeah.
But let's just say maybe it's a good move because
Could be.
my next headline here is wow. I don't know if you guys saw this, but the co-founder. I apologize. I would butcher his name if I tried to say it. But the co-founder of Cyberpunk went online today. Actually, was it? It was yesterday. Yesterday, and issued what I consider an S sandwich.
Yes.
It was. It was. We had on one level, we had a little bit of an apology, a bunch of reasons why they had issues that weren't their fault,
Of course not. Yeah.
and ended with a little bit of a promise that something's going to happen in the future.
That's a little spear with the olive to keep that sandwich together.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even really well constructed.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of sandwich you eat where it all falls out the bottom.
Every bite you take and you're trying to readjust and you're like, oh, no, nope, it's starting to slip over here.
Chasing
Right.
that end so it doesn't fall out, and that's what it felt like, man. Because like he starts the video like, oh, we apologize, and it's not on any of our developers, and it's not. We just want to take responsibility, this and that.
So take responsibility without taking responsibility, which is the best kind. Yeah.
But we had no idea it was going to go that way. And we have released a couple patches, and we have a small one going live today, and a larger one going very soon.
Soon, right.
The biggest one
TBD.
will be in Q2, halfway through the year.
Yeah, so we're not even really expecting. Obviously, the primary goal is to focus on older generation consoles,
Right.
PS4s, Xbox Ones. Then they're gonna optimize for console in general, PS5, Series X.
Well, because they
then-
didn't screw up nearly as much in that category. Let's be
Not
honest.
nearly as much.
Yeah.
I still feel like these games were launched in tandem with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X.
Mm-hmm.
They should have made sure that those products were perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Hands down. I mean, that's just the reality of it is you have, on one end, they have a launch date, they have it pushed back, now they have to release the game. And then on the other hand, you have, is it really ready? Is it really fully playable? Not just the PS5 version, but the PS4 version.
Yeah, but is it playable? Do we need to push this back?
Right.
We have tons of pre-orders. Do we hit the market? They made that decision. This is the question they had. Do we pull back and risk people refunding their pre-order
Right.
because we're not ready yet? Or do we push forward and promise to fix it knowing that people will return if they have issues? But they're less likely to return it because they already have the game.
Far less likely. And I think they undoubtedly leverage that fact and the fact that it would actually look worse for them to push it back again than it would to unintentionally have issues with this latest version and then have to create patches and software fixes for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it really seems like they didn't have a really good option to choose, but they didn't choose the option that better served their customers. They choose the option that seemingly better served their bottom line.
For sure, it absolutely did. And you can tell, man, like when you're in that long for development of a game, that time frame, the amount of time they took, they are hurting to pay their employees, they're hurting to pay their investors, they're hurting to pay to keep the lights on.
They've got millions of dollars out on the line. Yeah, undoubtedly.
Tons,
yeah,
tens of millions out on the line at this point, in far more than that in marketing, in probably pending purchase orders and things that are going to happen.
Investors.
Yeah. So what?
Future investors.
Future investors, for expansions, for anything that they want to do, sponsorships. I mean, you can imagine the sponsorships they have on the line. They have Keanu Reeves as their main person, by the way. What do you think he's getting paid?
Right.
A ton of money. And they're doing all sorts of Easter eggs with other people. So they just have all this money on the line. They obviously made that decision. I don't know why they don't just come out and own it. Be like, hey.
For sure.
Hey, we messed up. But honestly, the game's still good.
Right.
And yeah, there's some bugs, but we're going to work through it. And hey, here's $25 credit to each person online to use in the game.
Right.
Buy yourself some special skins. Buy yourself customized this and that.
Right. That would cost them almost nothing, and it would be a good show of, hey, we did make a mistake. We are owning up to it. We do appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
And this is our way of showing you that.
Yeah. Here, take $25. That's going to drive people to go play too. I mean, like, why not do that?
Yeah.
I'm probably a little more laid back because I didn't invest a lot into this game. But if the problem was recognized and there was going to be a solution, and I was given some sort of compensation for being an early adopter, I'd be like, okay, I can live with that. I'll come back in a month and I'll start playing again, because obviously this game isn't going anywhere.
Sure.
It's going to be around for a very, very long time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I would have more respect for them as a company if they did that rather than less.
I'm going out to buy it tonight.
Oh, there you have it. Look at that. Look at that.
I'm going to go buy it tonight. Why? Because I want to be the opposite of whatever the trend is. So I will start playing Cyberpunk 2077 tonight.
Woo!
Just because I want to get in there and see how bad it really is. But again, I kind of want to follow something different than what most everybody else is doing.
For sure.
So how do you think it went? How do you think our stream went? We're pretty much wrapping up, you guys. We got a few minutes left.
Yeah.
We could talk about stuff all night long. It's getting late. We've all kind of we've all put a lot into this stream tonight. I hope you like the background.
Yeah. I hope you guys appreciate it. I hope you dig it. I hope it looks good. Let us know what you think. Let us know if it is better and if you appreciate it and it looks that much cooler.
Yes.
We would dig to know that. Yeah.
Yes, please know. Put it down in the comments below. If you have any questions, comment on the video when it goes active on the page. It is what it is. I don't know if I have much more to say. We've gone through it tonight.
We really have. Yeah. No, the only thing I didn't cover was the LG magnet. That one I was pretty intrigued by, but we could save that for another night.
We'll do that next week, man. We're gonna put some good topics together next week and really put together a good show for you guys. Because this week, for bearing with us, we just say thank you with the whole episode.
For sure. Yeah.
I will say so I'm working on wrapping up a video right now on some new all-in-one coolers that were recently launched.
Ooh.
And just kind of like general information, install guides, so on and so forth for the channel. And I've got probably 10 other videos that I've got planned out. But I'm totally open to changing those if somebody has ideas. However, all I'm really trying to say is we have a lot of content we're trying to get through onto the channel to you guys, so you guys can kind of enjoy more and new, innovative content and wipe it out so we can get to the 2021 tech. Because there's going to be a lot of technology coming up in the next couple of months that we want to get our hands on. So stick around, hit subscribe on our channel, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live, and keep a lookout for that new video coming up and new tech from 2021 that we'll get the chance to actually physically get in hand. It's probably going to be a little bit, but we're going to get it done for you guys. So thank you again. Thanks. Give a round of applause here to Derek for holding it down, man. He's been doing pretty good. We'll keep him around for another week, I think. I think we'll keep him around for another week. Although he did drop the stream. I don't know, Matt.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think flip a coin,
Flip a coin. Okay. We'll wait till we're off air to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll tell you what, if we get, 50 thumbs up, we'll keep him around. How's that?
Yeah. If we get 50 thumbs up on this video by next week, we will keep Derek around. If not, we'll flip a coin.
There you go. Yeah, I think that's fair.
We'll flip a coin.
Yeah.
We'll let you know how it goes. All right, you guys. Until the next time, we'll catch you in the next video.
Take care, guys. Stay safe.